Hello everyone, welcome to another video. And first of all, sorry that I didn't upload last week, but I just didn't have any video ideas and I didn't really know what to do. So I just skipped uploading last week, but without further ado, today I'm going to talk about my calligraphy and how I learned it. And then I'm going to give some tips and tricks for beginners, but you can also watch this video if you're more advanced in calligraphy. So don't worry, I hope you like this video, and let's start with how I learned calligraphy. First, I'm gonna talk about my journey a bit. So back then I didn't know anything about calligraphy, so I started with fall calligraphy because honestly I didn't know brush pen existed. So I just took a black pen and did some cursive, and then I filled it out with a black pen, and I think this is the best way to start. I'm not really sure, but like I didn't it looked very bad at the beginning, and it still looks very terrible. I mean, just look at the fall calligraphy I did in this video, it doesn't look very good. So I didn't really like calligraphy at first because I was so bad at it, but you know, just keep practicing. As I said before, there weren't much information about calligraphy on the internet, and there weren't a lot of tutorials like there are now, so I got a lot of my inspiration from Pinterest, and I just searched like bullet journal setups and just tried to copy their header or just bullet journal lettering or just fonts and kind of different lettering, and then I started copying it with just a simple black pen because, as I said before, I didn't know anything about brush pens. So when I started getting more into calligraphy, which was about a year ago, I got my first pack of Tombows and I downloaded a printable from the internet, and I started following their guide because it helped me just see how I was supposed to letter. And as you can see, my lettering looked very terrible. These were just some old printables I found in my drawer, and it's just a good practice if you don't know anything about how to start and how to use your pen. This is a very good way to start lettering. By the way, I made my own printable. Just click the link in the description box down below, and it's completely free, and I hope it could help some of you, and I'll make a better one very soon, but for now I hope this helps. Another way I use this printable is I just had one sheet of paper where I had all the letters from the alphabet, and whenever I forget how to letter a letter, I just looked it up from the printable, and that way I could remember how I was supposed to position my pen and stuff like that. And lastly, I found some people on Instagram, and this was when I first got into the Studygram community, and then I just tried to copy their lettering, and these were like all the Instagrammers I found, but I think there are a lot more Instagrammers now. These were just the ones I like the most. So moving on to the tips I have for you guys, and the first tip I have is to practice your down and upstrokes, and that way you can get kind of a feeling how much pressure you need. And this is like the most obvious tip. You just need hard pressure when you make a downstroke and lower pressure when you make an upstroke. So just practice this and you'll get better. The next tip I have for you guys is that you try out different styles and see which ones work the best for you and which ones you like the most. And for example, you can just copy the alphabet from an Instagrammer, and then you can try to switch up some styles from some letters and see which one you like the most. For example, I did this with the letter A. I'm gonna show you two different styles to write the letter A, and I switch between both of them, but honestly I kind of like style 2 a bit more. The next one is very important, and please make sure that you're using smooth paper or else your brush pen is going to fray, and you don't want your brush pen to fray because first of all, brush pens tend to be very expensive and the lettering won't look good when it frays, as you can see. So now when you have smooth paper, the next step is to find a good brush pen for you, and I recommend the Tombow fluted brush pen in the hard tip version because since it is a hard tip version, you have to put a lot of pressure for your downstrokes, so you can kind of get an idea of how you are supposed to letter when you want to do nice calligraphy. So the next tip I have is please make sure that you take breaks between each letter because this helps you to reposition your pen and you can kind of see where you're going with your next letter. So as you can see, my calligraphy looked a lot better when I took breaks between each letter. So it's very important that you take your time while lettering, and it also takes me quite a lot of time when I want to write a word, and all those videos you see on Instagram, they're usually sped up, so nobody really letters that fast, so please, please, please do not rush. And finally, the last tip I have for you guys, and it also took me quite a lot of time to realize this and to not make this mistake, is that your lettering doesn't have to be on a straight line. In fact, it looks better when it's not, and what I mean by that is this. I show you an example where I write a word in just one line. Just imagine an invisible line like in those lined notebooks, and I try to follow this line, and in this example I don't have a line, so I use different positions for my letters, so it looks a lot better when you don't try to letter straight on to an invisible line, if you know what I mean. So before I end this video, I just quickly wanted to emphasize that practicing is key and you just have to practice a lot, and trust me, my lettering was so horrible at the beginning, I just couldn't do anything, and if I can do it, you can do it too. Just practice a lot and don't get discouraged by all those pretty Instagrammers out there because they probably practice a lot as well, so they weren't perfect at the beginning either, and nobody's perfect at the beginning, so just practice a lot and you'll definitely get better. So that's it for this video. I hope I could help some of you guys who always ask me how I letter and just everything else about my lettering. I hope you liked it, and I hope I could inspire you, and hopefully you start practicing right now and don't get discouraged, you can do this. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I see you in my next video. Bye! See you soon!